carrying on with how do we create a linear equation from a line. First of all, we need our equation to be y equals mx plus c. What does that mean? Well, we need the y to be the subject of an equation, so you need to rearrange an equation to make sure that y is the subject. So for instance, in this equation, 2y plus 3 equals 4x plus 2, we can actually make it linear by rearranging this and then moving the 3 over and then dividing by 2 so that y will be the subject. So it's no good in using this formatted equation. We need to change it to make y the subject, but there's been videos on changing the subject before. The m represents the gradient, the slope of the graph. And if you remember, we looked at how to do the gradient in the last video. You might think in this particular equation that there is no number in front of x, no number to represent m. However, you must remember that when you've got an x on its own, there's an invisible one. So there's actually a minus 1 in front of this x. M is minus 1. The number in front of x is minus 1. C then represents a number that's on its own. So if we had 2x plus 3, 3 would be C. What about this equation? Well, is this linear? Well, there's no C on the end, but yes, there is, because the C can be the number 0, and you wouldn't write the 0 there. So this is y equals 2x plus 0, C is 0. So remember, just because there's a 2x in the own doesn't make it a non-linear equation. So let's have a look at this then. We need to get the equation, we need to replace the m and the c in this equation with numbers. So the first thing we need to do is calculate the gradient. Remember, the amount we go up or down, we divide by the amount we go across. So between those 2 points that we pick. If you're unsure of that, look at the last video. So 2 divided by 1, the gradient is 2, and we can replace the m with 2. It becomes y is equal to 2x. Where does it actually cross the y-axis? Well, it crosses the y-axis dead on 0, the value 0. So we change c to 0, but of course we don't write zeros, so the simple answer to this equation is y is equal to 2x. Let's have a look at this one then. It's not the arrangement of y equals mx plus c at the moment. We need to rearrange it first. Well, we need y to be the subject, so we've got to get rid of this minus 2. And to do that, we're going to shift the 2 to the other side. This is way back in the videos when we did a change in the subject and solving. Remember that to move the 2 to the other side, it has to become a positive number if it's negative, and a negative number if it's positive. So the minus 2 changes into a plus 2 on the other side, and 4 plus 2 is 6. So now we've got y as the subject. But wait, what's the number in front of x? We've got minus x over 3, so surely there's no number. Well, dividing a number by 3 is the same as multiplying it by a third. So minus x over 3 is the same as minus a third x. So if we've ever got x over something, x over 5 say, the answer would be 1 over 5, a fifth of x. If we had 2x over 5, the answer would be 2/5 of x. In this case, we had minus x over 3, so it's minus a third of x. We now have m, which is minus a third. Let's have a look at c first. C says it's going to cross the axis at 6, so we count upwards to 6. And remember, in your Cartesian graphs, these would have numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we do a little cross on your graphs on this to make it clearer. I've done a little circle. And m is minus a third. Now, because it's not a whole number this time, this is telling us that we go down 1 for every 3 across. Remember, when it's a whole number, say if it was 3, that would be going up 3 for every 1 across. Or if it was minus 3, down 3 for every 1 across. In this case, because it's a fraction, we go down 1 for 3 across. So 3 across and down 1, we draw our second point where that square lines meet, join them up with a line, just slightly off here, I do apologise. And there's our linear equation. Something else you should remember as well, if it says y is equal to a number, so y is equal to 3, all you have to do is a horizontal line at 3. It makes it quite simple. So you go up to 3 and draw a horizontal line. If it said, say, x is minus 2, you draw a vertical line where x is minus 2. So that's how we turn linear equations into graphs.